In the heart of the Welsh countryside, nestled amidst the mist-shrouded Skirrid Mountains, stood the ancient Skirrid Mountain Inn. Dating back to the 12th century, its time-worn walls whispered tales of bygone eras, where weary travelers sought refuge and locals sought solace in tankards of ale. But beneath its rustic charm lay a darker history, whispered in hushed tones by those who dared to speak of it. For the Skirrid Mountain Inn was rumored to be haunted by the restless spirits of criminals who met their end at the gallows erected within its walls. Among the locals, there lingered tales of shadowy figures prowling the corridors at night, their ethereal forms illuminated by the flickering glow of candlelight. Some claimed to have heard the agonized cries of the condemned echoing through the inn's ancient halls, their pleas for mercy lost to the passage of time. Despite the warnings, travelers continued to seek shelter within the inn's walls, drawn by its reputation for hearty meals and warm beds. Among them was Sarah, a young woman traveling alone in search of adventure. As night fell and the inn's patrons retired to their rooms, Sarah found herself drawn to the inn's history, captivated by the stories of its spectral inhabitants. Ignoring the warnings of the locals, she resolved to spend the night within its haunted confines, determined to uncover the truth behind the rumors. Alone in her room, Sarah waited in silence, her senses alert to every creak and groan of the ancient building. Hours passed, and the inn fell into an eerie stillness, broken only by the distant howl of the wind outside. Suddenly, a chill swept through the room, sending shivers down Sarah's spine. In the dim light, she caught sight of a shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed, its form barely discernible in the darkness. Heart-pounding, Sarah watched in terror as the figure drew closer, its features twisted in agony. With a gasp, she realized the truth: the ghost of one of the condemned, doomed to wander the inn for eternity. Paralyzed with fear, Sarah could only watch as the ghost reached out a spectral hand towards her, its touch icy cold against her skin. Desperate to escape, she fled from the room, racing down the inn's corridors in a panic. But no matter where she turned, the ghostly apparitions seemed to follow, their tortured cries echoing in her ears. Trapped within the inn's ancient walls, Sarah realized with a sinking heart that she would never escape the ghosts of the Skirrid Mountain Inn. As dawn broke and the first light of morning filtered through the windows, Sarah's lifeless body was discovered by the inn's horrified patrons. And though the locals whispered of her tragic fate, the spirits of the Skirrid Mountain Inn remained silent, their secrets buried within its ancient walls for centuries to come. On a crisp autumn evening, Emily, a weary traveler, stumbled upon the inn after a long day's journey. With dusk settling over the landscape, the warm glow emanating from the inn's windows beckoned her inside, promising respite from the chill of the night. As Emily crossed the threshold, she couldn't shake the feeling of unease that washed over her. The air inside the inn felt heavy with the weight of centuries-old secrets, and the shadows seemed to dance eerily along the walls. Ignoring the unsettling atmosphere, Emily approached the innkeeper, a grizzled man with haunted eyes. He welcomed her with a weary smile and led her to a cozy room on the upper floor, assuring her that she would find comfort within its walls. Alone in her room, Emily couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The silence of the inn was broken only by the occasional creak of floorboards and the distant howl of the wind outside. Despite her growing unease, Emily resolved to make the most of her stay and retired to bed, hoping for a peaceful night's sleep. But as the hours passed and the darkness deepened, Emily found sleep elusive. Strange noises echoed through the corridors, the sound of footsteps echoing on the stairs, the faint whisper of voices carried on the wind. With each passing moment, Emily's sense of dread grew until she could bear it no longer. Determined to uncover the source of the eerie disturbances, Emily ventured out into the dimly lit hallway, her heart pounding in her chest. As she crept along, the air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to lengthen, twisting and writhing like living things. Suddenly, Emily's attention was drawn to a door at the end of the hallway, its surface weathered and worn with age. With trembling hands, she pushed it open, revealing a hidden staircase leading down into the darkness below. Summoning her courage, Emily descended into the depths of the inn, her footsteps echoing on the ancient stone steps. As she reached the bottom, she found herself in a dimly lit chamber, its walls lined with rows of rusted chains and shackles. Horror swept over Emily as she realized the truth. The inn was not just haunted by ghosts, but by the tortured souls of the criminals who had met their end within its walls. With a sinking feeling in her heart, Emily knew that she had stumbled upon something far more sinister than she could have ever imagined. Before she could flee, Emily was enveloped by a cold gust of wind, and the room filled with an otherworldly glow. The spirits of the condemned materialized before her, their faces twisted in agony as they reached out with spectral hands. With a scream, Emily turned to run, but it was too late. The ghosts surrounded her, their wails echoing through the chamber as they dragged her into the darkness, never to be seen again. As dawn broke over the Skirrid Mountains, the inn stood silent and still, its secrets buried beneath layers of history and legend. And though the villagers whispered of Emily's disappearance, the spirits of the Skirrid Mountain Inn remained silent, their presence haunting the ancient halls for eternity. On a moonlit night, Thomas, a weary traveler seeking refuge from the chill of the Welsh countryside, stumbled upon the inn's welcoming glow. Drawn by the promise of warmth and shelter, he pushed open the heavy oak door and stepped into the dimly lit interior. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of wood smoke and ale, and the murmur of conversation filled the room. Thomas approached the innkeeper, a grizzled man with haunted eyes, and requested a room for the night. As Thomas ascended the creaking staircase to his quarters, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease that prickled at the back of his neck. The shadows seemed to dance in the flickering candlelight, and an icy chill lingered in the air despite the roaring fire in the hearth below. Alone in his room, Thomas tossed and turned restlessly, his mind plagued by unsettling dreams and whispered voices that seemed to echo from the walls themselves. Desperate for respite, he resolved to explore the inn's hidden depths and uncover the truth behind its dark reputation. With a lantern in hand, Thomas descended into the inn's labyrinthine cellar, the air thick with the musty scent of age-old secrets. As he navigated the narrow passageways, he stumbled upon a forgotten chamber concealed behind a crumbling stone wall. Inside, Thomas discovered a grim tableau, the remnants of an ancient gallows, its wooden frame worn and weathered with age. Dread gnawed at his insides as he realized the significance of his discovery. The inn was rumored to be haunted by the ghosts of criminals hanged on its premises. Suddenly, the air grew heavy with the weight of unseen eyes, and Thomas felt a chill run down his spine as a spectral presence materialized before him. The ghostly figure of a condemned man, his features twisted in agony, reached out with ethereal hands, his voice a mournful whisper on the wind. Terrified, Thomas stumbled backward, his heart pounding in his chest as he fled from the cellar and back into the safety of the inn above. But try as he might, he could not shake the feeling of dread that clung to him like a shadow, nor the haunting memory of the ghostly apparition he had encountered in the depths below. As dawn broke over the Skirrid Mountains, Thomas gathered his belongings and fled from the inn, his mind haunted by the specter of the past. Though he would never forget his encounter with the restless spirits of the Skirrid Mountain Inn, he vowed never to return, leaving its dark secrets to linger in the shadows for eternity.